What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my DraftKings Showdown breakdown for Thursday night football's game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. Now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. This one's the big one. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. With the amount of people that are questionable, with the amount of people that are out due to COVID, we're going to have a lot of ambiguity throughout the day. You're going to want to get the updates as we get closer to lock, probably sometime in the 7 p.m. range. I will be posting them on Twitter. You're not going to want to miss that. Finally, let me know in the comment section who are your favorite options at captain and at utility for tonight's slate. Here's some of the holistic stuff, the overall picture for the slate. Get ready for this. On average, 137 is the winning optimal lineup score for the slate. The median salary used, ready for this, $46,400. That's leaving $3,600 on the table. There are multiple options below $1,000 that are viable on tonight's slate. You can probably play 2 or 3 if you want to, and they're not even close to bad plays. It's going to be a really weird one. 2.6 49ers in the optimal lineup, 3.4 Packers. The Packers are 7.5 point favorites in San Francisco, 48-point game total. We are going to be in for a real weird showdown slate. Let's just get this out of the way now before we move on to the captains. I am assuming, as of right now, Aaron Jones does not play. I have Allen Lazard in the game. So that's 2 right there. We already know Kendrick Bourne not playing, Brandon Ayuk not playing, both on the COVID list. There's a lot of down-the-line wide receivers that are viable for the 49ers, but we'll get into it. Now it's time to dive in to the captains. All right, because there's so much salary available, paying down at captain gets a little dicey. The best captain option for the slate right now is the most expensive captain, and that is Davante Adams. Adams shows up in the optimal lineup at captain 40% of the time. That's higher than public ownership right now. I love Davante Adams here. I love Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers shows up as the optimal captain 23.5% of the time. So we're talking close to 65% of the time. It's either Adams or Rodgers. After that, it gets a little murky. Nick Mullins is around 10%. Public ownership is similar. I don't have much of a take there. And then you're talking about a bunch of guys that are like 1, 2, 3%. I don't see anybody that stands out immediately as a guy that I should recommend. The only guy, no one else is above 5%. JaMycal Hasty is at 4.8%. That's the 4th highest captain odds that I have of everybody in the sim. He's already projected for more ownership than that. So my idea is to smash Davante Adams and smash Aaron Rodgers and hope for the best. Now, captain is relatively easy when salary doesn't matter. Utility is where things get super weird. So still love Davante Adams at utility, although I would rather have more at captain. Aaron Rodgers looks like the best utility option, shows up in the optimal 61% of the time. Happy to go over the field there. Nick Mullins is the 2nd most frequent utility option, 55%. And then we get into it. Jerick McKinnon, 8K, shows up in the optimal 38% of the time. Looks like a really good play. JaMycal Hasty, 7,200, shows up in the optimal 44% of the time. That's the 4th highest mark on the slate, and he's only 7,200, and the public's not even there. They're significantly lower than that number. I love Hasty. Probably my favorite play that isn't a full-on salary punt for right now. JaMycal Hasty is that guy. After that, the $3,000 to $6,000 range is kind of just whatever. We're talking about guys that are 15-ish% chance of being in the optimal. Their ownership is pretty similar. Where I think the value is all the way at the bottom. So at, this is so insane, at $400, you can take a look at Trent Taylor. Shows up in the optimal 26% of the time. I have him projected for 9 fantasy points right now. These are all very likely to change as we get closer to lock and we get a little bit more information on who the primary people will be, since the Niners are using a lot of new people. Dexter Williams, $200. I have him projected for 10.7 fantasy points. He shows up in the optimal utility spot 36% of the time. The public isn't anywhere near Trent Taylor or Dexter Williams. I like these guys significantly more than our public ownership is saying. And we're not even done yet. Tyler Ervin is $200. At that $200 mark, he could show up in the optimal like 40% of the time. Richie James shows up 16% of the time. That's 4 separate guys at $400 or lower. And I think that they can, you know, with a little bit of wiggle room, they're probably, one of those guys is probably in the optimal lineup like a third of the time. You're gonna want one. You could probably do 2 of that area, which means you can spend all the money you want at every other spot. That's why Davante Adams gets so much captain love. That's why there's so much opportunity for Adams and Rodgers and Mullins. Because if you roster 2 guys at $200, you have all the salary in the world. Don't worry about salary at all tonight. It's not going to be that important. Don't think you need to build to 50K or 49.9. If you build a lineup with 47.2, that's probably still a solid lineup if you need it to be. Now, I do have ownership right now, so I could talk a little bit about my fades. I don't have much going on at the captain spot. Just because of so much concentration at the top, it's hard to say I want to fade JaMycal Hasty. He's only 7% owned. I think he gets there 5% of the time. I'm still happy to have, I don't know, 1 or 2 and a 20 max, but there's nothing that resembles a true fade at captain. Now at utility, very different story. I would actually like to come in a little bit below the field on Davante Adams at utility. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't like Adams. I just want more of it at captain. So I'm fading Davante Adams a little bit in the utility spot. If Allen Lazard does play, I think 7,400 is a bit too expensive. I think he's projected to be a little overowned. I think Robert Tonyan at 6,400 looks a little bit overowned. I think Jordan Reed at 5,800 looks a little overowned, but that one scares me the most. If Jordan Reed is in, I'm very nervous that he catches a touchdown pass. I don't know what it is. It's just a feeling I have. That one scares me, but I will be very light on Jordan Reed in GPPs if I had to enter my lineups right now. Otherwise, no major fades. Like Kyle Juszczyk at $1,000 doesn't seem like a great play when there are multiple guys below him. He's picking up a little bit of ownership, nothing too crazy. I'd rather just go a different direction. I mean, 8.6% ownership is not all that worrisome. I'd rather just have a lot more of Taylor or Williams or Irvin or James, whoever's not getting represented at the bottom. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. That is my DraftKings Showdown breakdown for Thursday Night Football's game between the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. One last time, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when it goes live. Let me know in the comments, who do you like at captain? Who do you like at utility? And the big one, follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. If you're not following me, these numbers are all going to change and you're going to think that what I said at 8 o'clock in the morning should be gospel. This is one of the most difficult showdown slates we will have. You want all of the information as close as we can to lock. I will drop those updates on Twitter tonight. I will also be in our premium Slack chat tonight to take any questions, because this is a slate that definitely has question marks. I'm going to try to fill them as much as I can. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it greatly. Good luck tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with my top 5 DraftKings plays at each position for Sunday's main slate. Good luck.